What's up, guys? It's Mr. Fit to Flourish, and today on the Fit to Flourish podcast, I wanted to talk about this company. So, this company, I've been getting requests to kind of review, and since it is breaking out to all-time highs, I wanted to go ahead and review this company. So, without further ado, this is the evaluation of ARM. The future is built on ARM. So let's take a look at it. So, who is ARM? What is ARM? So, ARM Holdings is a British semiconductor and software design company based in Cambridge, England. And it was born more than 30 years ago with the goal of designing a computer intended to run on a battery. ARM's DNA is built around power efficient CPUs. And they say our platform solutions fast track time to market for AI technologies in all connected markets. ARM CPUs are already being used by technology companies everywhere to run AI, ensuring performance efficiencies and broad support for rapid, frictionless deployment at scale. And it's majority owned by the Japanese conglomerate SoftBank Group. ARM actually started out as Acorn Risk Machines back in the 1980s, the early 1980s, with the advent of the computer, and then it turned into advanced risk machines. And what is a risk machine? So, a risk machine is a reduced instruction set computer. So, it's just a computer that is high performing by basically reducing the number of instructions that you have to give to it to allow it to operate efficiently. Okay. So it was incorporated in 1990 and it went through many divestments and it was bought and sold multiple times. Fast track to now, it most recently IPO'd in September 14th of 2023 and they raised $4.87 billion. So we're looking at a initial public offering from this past year in September. And Nvidia actually tried and failed to buy ARM for $40 billion in 2020, but it just reported that it does have a stake worth $147 million, and that was back in February 2024. So I'm sure that that's gone up quite a bit, as we've seen ARM pretty much 200% since its IPO and since January of 2024. Now, what are the mottos and beliefs of ARM? So, ARM will power every technology revolution moving forward. So, this is a bold statement from ARM. This is huge. And then across industries, ARM technology is building the future of computing. We architect, develop, and license high performance, low cost, and energy efficient IP solutions for CPUs, GPUs, NPUs, and interconnect technologies relied on by many of the world's leading semiconductor companies and OEMs to develop their products. And I did want to mention that I have no. I did want to mention that I have no affiliation or investment. I currently don't own any shares or any stock in ARM. This is non-biased. This is just a complete non-biased evaluation. All right. And then in terms of products for ARM has a ton of products that they list on their website. So these products, to make it simple or to keep it simple, are chips, software, solutions, and they are implemented in systems such as biometric systems, cars, in terms of the ABS safety systems in cars, smart TVs, smart watches, tablets, laptops, desktops, and servers. And some companies that you might see ARM's products in are huge companies like Apple, Microsoft, and Nvidia. So ARM actually services some of these large companies. And then in terms of the leadership for ARM, Renee Haas is the leader. So Renee Haas was actually born to a German Jewish father who worked as a research scientist at Xerox. So this is huge because it's kind of like the whole tech thing in the family. It's kind of in the genes, it's in their genes. So he worked in sales at Tensilica in 1999 and led the sales division. He was also the vice president of Mythic, an AI company, back in 2004 to 2006. And he worked for NVIDIA for 7 years. He was the GM and vice president. So a lot of NVIDIA ties here in terms of leadership for ARM and just a good relationship, it looks like, is what ARM has with NVIDIA. And again, more leadership here. We have Tamika Curry Smith, and she's worked with Mercedes Benz. She's worked with Nike, with Target Corporation. Just a good background overall. Good backgrounds on the leadership so far, and a diverse leadership as well. We also have Drew Henry. Drew Henry had a history with NVIDIA as well. And then moving forward, we have Will Abbey, the executive vice president and chief commercial officer. Overall, the leadership looks really diverse, really well structured, and A lot of their leadership actually has a background in AI, a background with NVIDIA, and with these companies that they're actually competing with currently and actually servicing. Now, in terms of a qualitative perspective, so currently ARM has a buy rating. So the sentiment is good, it's bullish, and it's an AI and chip stock. And currently, AI and chip stocks are in play stocks, they're in play. ARM is currently in a massive uptrend. It's been in an uptrend since its inception, but more recently in April of 2024, we had a massive retracement, a massive pullback, and then a rip to the upside, and we've kept this nice upward trend line since then. So it looks good. What else looks good? The leadership looks good. They're partnering with many of the top companies in terms of AI and software and technology, and it's also owned by SoftBank. So good stuff there from a qualitative perspective. And then from a quantitative perspective, ARM's IPO'd at $56.10. Currently, it's trading at $181.19. So just 9 months later, we're up over 200% on ARM. And on the year, really, we're up over 200%. And then the average daily volume is about 11 million, so that's really good volume for a stock overall. And the market cap is 189 billion. Again, a pretty good size. Beta is 3.62, so this is pretty volatile in terms of its price movement. So when we're looking at beta, beta tells you how volatile a stock is in relation to the S&P 500. So the S&P 500 has a beta of 1, so it's the standard. So it kind of tells you the average daily range or the average daily movement that the stock will make. Here, we're just kind of we're seeing that the beta is 3.62, meaning that it moves about 3.62 times the rate of the S&P 500. And then in terms of shares float, there's 1.04 billion shares, and the PE ratio is extremely high. So this is something to kind of look out for. It's 624, which is the trailing. Forward looks a lot better at 124. Still really high, but it is a growth company, so you have to keep that in mind. It recently IPO'd, so we're gonna have to allow the PE ratio a little bit of time to kind of flesh out. But it is a growth company. Keep that in mind. This is extremely high for a PE ratio, but again, it depends on the PE ratio calculation that you use. And currently, ARM does not offer a dividend, but I'm expecting that as soon as they mention that they will offer a dividend, the stock will absolutely rocket to Mars. And in terms of financials, you can always go to Yahoo Finance and take an in-depth look at the financials. The financials look pretty good. In terms of financials, you really want to just kind of make sure that year over year we're increasing in terms of our revenue, quarterly revenue, yearly revenue, year over year. And then you want to kind of see that the operating expenses are kind of decreasing. It looks like as ARM is ramping up production, they're actually getting an increased operating expenses. But we're expecting this to churn out a lot more products and service a lot of their customers. And then in essence, we should be seeing an increase in total revenue. But since its IPO, we have only had a couple earnings, and each time there's been pretty big earning beats. So it's looking good from that perspective in terms of financials. So we are going to be looking for more in terms of financials soon. It does have a pretty nice margin profit. So in terms of Twitter, you also kind of want to see, hey, what is everyone else feeling? What is the qualitative perspective like in terms of sentiment on Twitter? So what you can do is just do not a hashtag, but a money sign, and then type in your stock. So in terms of ARM, looks like everyone is kind of agreeing that ARM currently it's bullish. It's a buy, especially since it's breaking out to all-time highs. And then another thing that you'll find on Twitter is that some people will actually post these option sheets where you can see the incoming option contracts. You can see call sweeps. So there's actually a few call sweeps here on ARM, 200 and 250 strike price calls for the next couple weeks to couple months. So that's something to be on the lookout for. That people are actually feeling pretty bullish about ARM. And then you know me, I'm the technical analysis guy. So in terms of TA, ARM overall, like I said, since inception back in November 14th, 2023, it's been in a nice uptrend. It's been holding that uptrend since. We had a pretty massive pullback. Looks like back in March to April, we had a pretty massive pullback. We did consolidate for a while, so we kind of have balanced price now. So we had the accumulation phase, our run up phase, then we had a nice distribution phase. We sold off to higher lows, and then now we are running up again. So it looks pretty good from that perspective overall, just kind of in that nice uptrend. And then I did want to show this chart as well, how I drew out these lines where you can see the previous high was broken, and then we have even the new high that we formed was also broken, and we're currently in a breakout. It looks like we were in this ascending triangle, and we broke out from this ascending triangle, and then we broke out from a recent high as well. So looks like we are having a lot of buyers step in. We're holding this trend line pretty nicely. And then even on the 2 hour time frame, I wanted to show that we have buyers stepping in. You could see by this massive bottom side wick on this red bar, this red doji bar. We're sitting on the 50 MA, and then we had the 9 MA, the pink line, curl up above the 20 MA, which is the yellow line, which is very bullish. And then the bars that form after these big bull bars that I'm pointing at here, they're small bars, which means that we have price holding at the highs of the close. And then that's what's called a high probability fair value gap, where we get additional movement to the upside if price holds what's called these hold levels. So it looks really good from that perspective. So finally, is ARM a buy? Well, short term, it looks like ARM is definitely a buy in terms of calls. If you're trading options, it looks like it's going to rip for a little bit, but you do want to be looking for pullbacks to the 9 MA. If it rips too hard, too quick, it's going to have these mean reversions, meaning that it's going to come back to the average price, which is typically the 9 MA. It's going to come back to the 9 MA to balance out price and then continue to the upside. But it is a growth stock. It has massive potential, as it is partnering with a lot of these massive companies, Microsoft, Apple, NVIDIA, and it has leadership from NVIDIA. That's been leadership in NVIDIA and Amazon, and it has really good leadership. So overall, I think ARM is a buy. I think we can see ARM running up to potentially four to $500 pretty quickly, and then to 1,000. Just because, and I'm not saying this like, oh, like it's going to the moon. I'm saying it because it's a growth stock, and these growth stocks in the chip sector, specifically chips, AI, technology, and AI specifically, are really just ripping. It's kind of like the tulip mania thing, but it's looking like AI is going to have a future in terms of technology, and in terms of the future of technology. It is the future for technology. So the fact that ARM has this outlook, they have this motto, they have the leadership, it has the potential, they have the partnerships. It all looks really good to me now. I think it's still a good buy in terms of a long-term portfolio. 5 to 10 years out, it'll be $500 to $1,000, something kind of like an Avgo, like a Nvidia was, like a lot of these well-known companies. So that is just my little evaluation of ARM. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you want to see more stuff like this, drop some comments. Thank you for tuning in. It's the Fit to Flourish podcast, and I'm out. Good morning, welcome to the Fit to Flourish podcast. Let's talk wellness, finance, and